Hello to everyone and welcome to another webinar brought to you by Catenda. My name is Benjamin Agyemang. I am the Director of AEC Implementations at Catenda. I myself have worked in the industry, the building industry, for over 20 years, and I have implemented various and used various digital solutions. And I would say my last one before I joined Catenda was Catenda Hub. Today I have the pleasure of presenting you today's topic, which is design coordination with Revit and Catenda Hub. This webinar should take about 20 to 25 minutes. So let's have a look at today's agenda. So firstly, I will be introducing you to the Catenda offering and obviously the plugin for Revit. We will have a look at some design coordination workflows, some very basic ones, but important. Then we will take a dive straight into Catenda Hub and Revit and look at the connection between Revit and Catenda Hub. Export IFC files from Revit directly to Catenda Hub, create issues in Catenda, play it back to Revit, create issues in Revit, play it back to Catenda, be able to also see your connected data in Revit. So if you have attached, for example, documents to an issue, these documents will still be available for you in Revit. How you go about solving issues in Revit, issues that may be coming from clash detection software like Solibri or Navisworks or whatever the case may be. And most importantly, how you manage these issues with your project team, with the entire project in Catenda Hub. And last but not least, we will then have a look at or a sneak peek at other integrations that behave in the same manner. First thing on the agenda, as I mentioned before, introducing you to the Catenda offering. So the Catenda offering covers the complete life cycle of a project, of a construction project. So we cover the design phases, the construction phases, taking you even to operation management. Behind all of the Catenda offerings is what we call Catenda Boost, which is the engine that drives all of these different applications. And this Catenda Boost we also offer as a package to other software companies in order for them to get, for example, BIM capabilities for their CDEs and other things. The main focus today will be on Catenda Hub and this connection to Revit. Catenda Hub covers the design phases, the construction phases, obviously also the refurbishment phases. It acts like as a document storage, as a CDE, and helps you manage not only documents but models as well as the complete project communication. Then you have Catenda Site, which is the mobile app connected directly to Catenda Hub, which is also included in the Catenda Hub package. So if you are a customer of Catenda Hub, you will have the Catenda Site application free of cost. And last but not least is Catenda Duo. I will even say the most important puzzle piece, which is operations. As we know, most of the costs of a building is incurred during the operation phase. So Catenda Duo gives you the ability to control or keep track of all of your assets, connect them to IoT devices, have energy analytics, be able to monitor how your building is performing and adjust accordingly. But that is more or less a teaser. We won't be getting too much into that. So as I mentioned before, the main focus is Catenda Hub. and how Catenda Hub and Revit comes together to offer you an innovative way of doing design coordination, and most importantly, open way. So the first thing you need obviously is the Revit plugin. This can be found on the Autodesk App Store. You just type in Catenda and you will be presented with the Catenda plugin. First, a basic workflow, a basic, I would say, use case that you have, and the focus is maybe just on little BIM. Little BIM will meaning that you are just doing design coordination or project coordination within your company. So you're not talking to external people, you are doing it internally. And how could this look like? So you have different team members with different technical affinities working on different parts of the project. And so you have people working with Revit, you may have a lead coordinator working with Solibri or Navisworks. And these people or these members can all use IFC and BCF to communicate with each other, which is brilliant. But what happens to the project manager, or maybe team members that don't have the skills to work in Revit, or sometimes may even be afraid to work in Revit? How could they be part of this communication using models and documents in the project? Hence the question mark. The answer is Catenda Hub. Each team member could ask questions with any project member, whether they're using Revit or not, using BCF or using issues, and have these directed to a project member or colleague. The IFCs of the project are also uploaded then onto Catenda Hub. The documents also, hence you have one place on the cloud where the project data is stored and, most importantly, accessible for everyone in the project. So no matter where you are, you have access to these IFC files, to this BCF communication, and to the documents. So the project manager then is in a position to do visual checks, either 2D or 3D, based on the model, communicate his results or her results back to the project team, be able to ask questions to the project team. He or she is also able to answer questions that they may get from the project team. Manage tasks, so not all tasks are 3D or 2D based. Sometimes it's just a simple task as you need to plot documents or you need to plot drawings for town and country planning submission. This, I would say, is what you would call an open coordination or design coordination in a very open fashion, because everyone in the project team is involved. If we now look at Big BIM, which is involving external parties, so you have all your subcontractors or all your engineers, the client, the owner, whoever the case may be involved. You have the case where you have now all of a sudden multiple applications being used. So it's not just one authoring software. You have Revit, you have Archicad, you may have Alplan, Vectorworks, name it. You have all of these different applications in play. Hence, it's not so easy to communicate using proprietary formats. Then you have to think about how do you do your communication using open formats such as IFC. So here, for example, you have the structural or the MEP guy using Revit, you have the architect using Archicad, you have the coordinator using Navisworks, and you have the lead coordinator or the BIM manager using Solibri. How can all these different applications communicate using the same language? Again, the solution is very similar to Little BIM. You have BCF and IFCs. They could communicate with each other fairly easily. But what happened again to the owners, developers, GCs, engineers that are not using any of these software solutions, subs that also are not using any of these solutions, and I'm sure there are plenty others that are not using any of these solutions. All of these that I've mentioned here now in the middle, they have no access to these models. How do they become part of this communication? And again, the answer is very similar to Little BIM. Catenda Hub in the middle, everyone inputs their communication, everyone inputs their different trade models. They could all be federated directly on Catenda, and all the documents. So now you have all of these non-experts becoming part of this communication, and you don't need to have two different tables in the project. You have one big table where everyone is sitting on and communicating to everyone. So this is what is, I would say, an open way of doing design coordination. Yeah, so that's it for the two workflows. Now let's have a look at Catenda Hub in connection with Revit and see how these real-life use cases could be solved in a very easy and innovative way. And now we are in Revit. You can see this demo project that is also populated on the Catenda Hub platform that we will get to see in a bit. So after you have installed the plugin that I showed you earlier in the webinar, you will be able to find it under add-ins, Catenda. Then you'll be prompted to sign in with your credentials. So here I'll put in my password, hit sign in, and then I will be already logged into Catenda Hub, and I will see all of the projects that I have been invited to or I'm involved in here. We are using the Catenda English project. Then the issue boards will be populated. Here we have different types of issue boards that could be defined within the project. I created this one webinar for today and have already populated it with some issues. So the first thing we are going to do is export an IFC file and place this directly on Catenda using the Catenda plugin. Just to give you a quick idea, so this is the architectural model. The other models that you are seeing in the other view are link models. So here we want to export the objects that are natively coming from this model. As a quick info, exporting using the Catenda plugin uses the settings that you have here. So you could modify your setup, create new ones. Once you have done this, it will appear on it within the plugin. Here, as you can see, I could select my configuration I want to use. So to export, you will need to pick which model you would like to have updated. Here we say architecture model, and then we could say Revit model for webinar, and hit upload. Well, it will be exported and uploaded then directly onto Catenda. I won't do this because it will take probably a couple of minutes. Sometimes, depending on the size of the model, the export will take a little bit longer. So here what I have done is just split the screen so that you can see what's happening on Catenda Hub as we make changes in Revit. So the model we uploaded, or what I prepared before, would have been uploaded here onto the architectural slot. And if I click on this, you will see that, yeah, a couple of days ago I prepared this. When I hit the 3D button, I will be able to see this model in the Catenda Hub environment. I will jump back over to the Revit side. Here you can see I have pre-populated the issue area. So here, for example, we have this issue which is trying to say something about the stair. What does it say? It says provide detail for stairs. Imagine I'm the modeler, author of this model. I could just click here and see this stair in front of my screen, and I can make the necessary adjustments, or I know exactly which stair is being spoken about. And maybe make this a little bit bigger. And actually we could go to the previous issue. So here we are seeing other issues here. I think the provision for voids haven't been delivered. I could click on the BCF and it takes me directly to this area. This was created, as you can see, this was created in Catenda Hub, and I could go on and on. Once I'm in Revit, I could also communicate certain, any area or any create issues that I want to have. So just to simplify things, I would take this box, push it like a little bit further, maybe here, so that we are seeing something. Zoom into this, maybe select the ceiling and say create new issue, check ceiling openings. I could assign this to someone in the project, pick myself, save it, and could add a comment or not. I could make this clear by marking what I really want to talk about. These openings here in the ceiling, save it, submit. And here we can see already that this issue that we just created appears here. I can click on it, press the play button, and it takes me directly to this area. As you can see, the models of the link Revit files are not loaded, but we could easily get those by attaching them here. And then the same constellation that we have here, and whoever is working with this project that maybe has no access to Revit could understand what this issue is about and comment. So here I could even comment back and say, thanks, I will have a look. And if I refresh this issue, you will see that my comment from a few seconds ago, this is creating issues from Revit or creating issues within Catenda and exchanging them based on 3D models. I could very much do the same based on a 2D floor plan. So actually I prepared this before. So if I go now to this issue, as you can see, this was created from a 2D floor plan within Revit. I can use this to communicate with other people that are using Revit to say, hey, could you please validate this stair position? So if I go across here again, you will see I created this issue mainly based on a 2D floor plan. So maybe to demonstrate, I could probably go to this stair here in the back and create a new issue. Back stair is wrong. I could just simply submit this, and if we go back over to Catenda issues, we'll be able to see this as well. So I could click here, it would take me to the stair. I could go here and add a clipping plane. If I want to get more information, I could always say, oh, maybe I want to see the structure in the MEP, how it's working here. And there I have the full information that I need. So communication also works based on 2D views from Revit. So here again, if I click away, even if I, let's say, close this view, I could always click here and it knows which view it was and then replace it. So here you can see issues are easily located within Catenda and within within Revit. Also, what I could have is a markup from Catenda based on the document view. Again, what I will do, I will go back to the issues here and maybe just change the view in here so that we can see exactly which one it is. Washrooms are too small. Here I have this that was created based on this document here. I can turn off the 3D viewer so that we could get a better view of this. And this is also viewable within Revit. So I could communicate also based on 2D plans that have been generated, 2D drawings, and then have the feedback sent back to people using Revit and the other way around. The other interesting thing also about this issue that we just looked at, we could go and look at it again. I have a 2D plan and at the same time also a model view attached to this. So actually if I click on this, you will see then on the Catenda side that I'm actually taken to the model where this issue is taking place. So another thing that's interesting here, for example, if I go to this issue, I have a window selected. If I click on this, the window will be selected here as well. And here the windows, the issue says update attached window specs. So specs is spelled wrong. I could even fix it right here. I could see the connected data to this issue. So one is one related object that we have already selected, but we could have selected it from here. And here we are seeing that this issue actually have 4 documents attached to this. And these documents I could view by just clicking on any of these, and it would open up a web browser with Catenda Hub and take me directly to these documents. obviously I have to be logged into Catenda. So we could just do it and see what happens. And here I have the document open on Catenda. So this is actually showing you the connected data. Also, this document tells me I'm connected to this issue, and also I'm connected to objects in the model. So I could even go here and say isolate objects. It would then load the respective model and show me in the model here what objects are those. And obviously I can create an issue of this and have it then also shown then in Revit. Another thing that is on the Revit side that we show is how many related issues are there. So here we see this issue that we actually have open in the background have 2 related issues. On Catenda, you will be able to see this in a very simple way. So if I go back to issues and I take this off and we say we are looking for this one with the window specs, we could see here this issue actually have other issues attached to it. And we can see also it's like a summary of issues. So all these issues need to be attended to in order to be able to complete the design submission, for example. Another thing to also mention is that here, if I go and change the status and say this has been solved, and I go back then to my summary, I see that this is also updated. Maybe the last thing that could be interesting for you would be actually how the issue management is done. So here we have, let's say, a list view and a table view. Here, these are only the issues that are related to this webinar. This project has a lot more issues. So if I say show all issue boards, it will actually see we have 101 issues here, and there's a long list of issues. I could define what we call issue boards. Within these issue boards, I could also define what statuses, what types of issues are going to be available, and also define what the audience are. So for each of these issue boards, we actually have an access control that you could say particular people have access to this, but they don't have access to this. They may only have read access to something. So you are kind of contextualizing the communication based on issues. So clash detection may only have a particular audience, minutes will have other audiences, and so on and so forth. So that's actually it for the demo. Let's jump back into the presentation. So I hope this demo was able to give you some insights on how to optimize your design coordination and communication in a way that all project members are involved in the process. Just to close off this webinar, I want to just give you a quick overview of the other integrations that we have that also behave in a similar manner to the plugin that we just saw. So we have on the Autodesk side, Navisworks, also then coming from Alplan, we have DDS CAD, then you have Vectorworks, we also have Bricks CAD, so we also support Solibri and Archicad and Tekla. So as you can see, we cover a wide range of other products, which is always our main goal, to connect to as much other software solutions as possible. Thank you very much for the time. I wish you a pleasant day and hope to hear from you soon. And take care. Bye.